People have complained for years that electric vehicles are just too expensive. Not only are there two Chevy Bolts to choose from, they cost a lot less now. I'm auto specialist Tom Voelk for the Seattle International Auto Show, and the Chevy Bolt EUV is a little bit different from the standard Bolt EV. If you remember, the Bolt EV got a refresh with a new schnoz and an updated interior. The EUV gets both of those plus a little extra room since it's around 6 inches longer with a wheelbase stretched by nearly 4. The EUV is $2,000 more, but in addition to the space, gets a sleeker roofline reminiscent of Chevy's Blazer. And the EUV is now $6,300 less than 2022 models. It starts at $28,200 with shipping. All Bolts are strictly front-wheel drive. The motor makes 200 horsepower and 266 pound-feet of torque to move a 3,700-pound machine. The floor-mounted, liquid-cooled lithium-ion pack is 65 kilowatt-hours. Chevy includes a dual-mode travel charging cord, so you can mooch off family and friends when visiting. A lot of cars have greeting tones these days. The Chevy Bolt is no different. Kind of dramatic, huh? The ignition button is hidden behind the wheel. The single-motor transmission gets this arrangement now. It's easy to get used to. There's a sport mode that seems to add some heft to the steering weight. There's also one-pedal drive mode that remembers your preference at startup. Plus, this to add even more recuperation drag. The ones below are for the sound system. If you haven't driven an electric vehicle, you really need to give it a try. They're loads of fun, especially in the city, because all of that low-end torque makes them feel faster than they are. Bolt EUV does the 0 to 60 dash in about 7 seconds, which is pretty standard for a single-motor EV. Again, it feels quicker than that. It's fun. It's important to remember the price point when evaluating the Bolt EUV. It's under $30,000. Graphics help drivers maximize range, and even though it's down a smidge from the regular Bolt, it's not a problem with EUV, especially if you're doing mostly city driving and charging at home. According to the EPA, the Bolt EUV is supposed to go 247 miles on a charge. Temperatures are in the high 50s to low 60s. I'm on track to do 250, so range isn't an issue. Bolt isn't as hushed as Mercedes EQS, of course, but it's fairly quiet for a budget EV, and for a smaller vehicle, it's a solid highway traveler. Adaptive cruise control is standard on the Premier model, fork over $2,200, and you get GM's Super Cruise, which is true hands-free driving. I've been on this stretch for about 5 miles, haven't touched the wheel, the brake, or the throttle. It's great stuff. Now, it only works on divided highways that are mapped, but that really shouldn't be an issue. There's a couple 100,000 miles of those. There's a camera, it's watching you, so you're present and accounted for. It will shut down if it senses that you're doing things like posting cat videos on social media. Now, this system is not as comprehensive as the one found in Cadillacs or GMCs, but it's very, very good. If you're often on divided highways, you do a lot of commuting, this is an excellent system. As for taking on electrons, Bolt has an upgraded 11.5 kilowatt onboard charger, which helps speed things up. Using DC fast charging, Bolt will take on around 95 miles in 30 minutes, so it's not the fastest charging EV out there. At home, where most charging is done using level 2, it'll juice up completely in about 8 or 9 hours, essentially overnight. Charge where you sleep and there are no issues. And the EPA says you'll save $9,750 in fuel costs over 5 years compared to the average new vehicle. The two Bolts share the same cabin look. This is a big improvement over the first generation's interior. Premier models get leather seats. These updated chairs are another improvement. They're much more supportive now. There's even power for the driver's side. There's a very good surround view camera system, found only in luxury cars a few years back. Skateboard platforms allow for extra storage spaces. Neither Bolts are huge cars, but there are the expected places to squirrel things away. The center console is especially deep. This is a big jar of peanut butter. The user interface is exceptionally easy to use with excellent response. There's wireless phone charging, Android Auto and Apple CarPlay don't require a cord, so that makes it all easy. The EUV's back seat gets around 3 inches of extra legroom compared to Bolt Classic, and this Premier model is available with heated cushions for the back. There's over 16 cubic feet of cargo space. This will expand to 57 cubic feet to haul big things, and it's easy to reach in and drop the seats from the rear. No need to open the back doors. And the load floor stows easily in the deep well. You want a completely flat floor? You got it. The Chevy Bolt EUV is an affordable electric vehicle with loads of range, buckets of features, and tons of practicality. And if you don't need the extra back seat room, the slightly smaller Bolt EV begins at $26,600. Check out both of the Bolts at your local Chevrolet showroom. For the Seattle International Auto Show, I'm Tom Voelk.